Hey everyone, this is Jay, and this week's video is a Woods Walker review, where I tell you about a piece of gear, a book, or a movie that has to do with hiking. This week's review is on Herbert Keith's memoir of his life in the Adirondacks. It's called Man in the Woods. Stay tuned. I am really excited to talk to you about this book here. Man in the Woods is Herbert Keith's autobiographical memoir of his time in the Adirondack village of Wanakena during the early 20th century. This is kind of a special book to me because 2017 Mark and I went on a 50-mile thru hike around Cranberry Lake, and eventually went through the town of Wanakena. So a lot of the times that Mr. Keith is talking about his experiences in the small village, it brought back a lot of memories that I had. You can check out that video right here. And we'll link it in the description below. But we had a great time out there, and I was really interested in finding out more about the history of this area. Now, enough about me. Let's talk a little more about this book. Man in the Woods is an Adirondack Museum book. Was released by the Syracuse University Press in 1972 originally, where the paperback version came out 4 years later in 1976. Much of Man of the Woods is about Herbert Keith's life with the guides who made their living on the Oswegatchie River. Mr. Keith spent a lot of time with one particular guide named Wilfred Morrison. No relation. Wilfred Morrison taught Mr. Keith how to navigate the river with a canoe, how to set up and maintain a base camp along the river, and how to really just live off the land. All of these lessons were pretty hard for Herbert Keith, but as time went on and the more time he spent with Wilfred Morrison, Herb really found that he had an unyielding love for the area of Wanakena and the Oswegatchie River. Herbert Keith started his life in Wanakena in the summer of 1907 when he hopped on a train and took the long trip to Cranberry Lake. During this long train ride, he got a chance to observe and interact with a lot of the denizens who call this area of the Adirondacks home, including and specifically lumberjacks, whose blood and sweat really went into the foundation of creating this beautiful village in Wanakena. He's got some very interesting insights on lumberjacks and most specifically their smell. Very interesting, very funny stuff that he's got going on there. Much of the book talks about trips that Herbert Keith was a part of as he was learning from the Adirondack guides. These trips would consist of city folk or flatlanders coming up, hiring guides, and going off into the deep woods for a nice backcountry adventure. A good way to get away from the hustle and bustle of the burgeoning city life that was kind of growing at that time of the century. Some of my favorite stories about these trips were of when Mr. Keith would talk to the guides away from the city folk who were having terrible luck catching fish, and the answer was always, oh, they're not in the secret fishing hole or this location that's known to have the best fishing on the Oswegatchie. Myself, I'm a terrible fisherman. I would love to get better. So as I was reading this, I found myself taking out my maps and my paddling book and trying to figure out exactly where these secret fishing spots were to maybe go out for a couple of days, and I don't know, maybe luck would be on my side and I would be able to catch some decent fish. You can find these stories and a whole lot more right here in Man in the Woods. I highly recommend this book. It's got over 40 black and white pictures of the people and places that were very near and dear to Mr. Keith's life in Wanakena. Like LeVar Burton always said at the end of Reading Rainbow, you don't have to take my word for it. You could go to your local library and check out this book for yourself. I hope you enjoyed the Woods Walker review. Thanks for sticking around. Tune in next week for our snowshoeing adventure out to Avalanche Lake. Make sure you click that subscribe button right here so you don't miss out on anything. Thanks for hanging out today. And until next time, remember, try and do something awesome every single day. Talk to you later.